Rev up your engines! BCAP 852 says, my wife's looking at buying a 2022 Honda CR-V with 40,000 miles. It looks good, but I remember hearing about the gas oil dilution, and I pulled the dipstick and the oil smells like gas. The employees at the dealership assured me the problem was fixed years ago. What do you think? Well, don't buy that particular one for sure. You know, they always say, oh, we fixed that problem. You never know if they did or not until you have one, you own it for years, and it's too late. That one obviously has oil dilution problems, right? You smell the gasoline. You're not supposed to. From my own customers' experiences with those 2022s, if they change the oil regularly every 5,000 miles and use that new GF6 brand of oil, it's a generic one. It's not any particular company, but it's a GF6 oil that's made for those. They don't have oil dilution problems. But that thing's got 40,000 miles on it. Maybe they didn't change the oil every 15, 20,000 miles, and it now has oil dilution problems. Do not buy that vehicle. Look for another one. And really, I don't know what they want for that thing, but it's only a year old, and it's got 40,000 miles on it. See what the price of a new one is, and if it's a few thousand more, just go buy the new one and maintain it right. It's a problem with buying a used car. You don't know how it was taken care of previously, and that one wasn't taken care of right because you could smell the oil dilution. Jasper Mach 5 says, I hit a deer and totaled what you call the worst car in existence, a 2014 Chevy Cruze. I have on order a 2024 Toyota Corolla, assembled in Mississippi, and like a backup car for $25. What would you recommend? I'm mechanically inclined, but I don't do engine, trans, or differential work. Okay, well, then look for another Toyota Corolla, not a new one, an old one, or an old Toyota Camry. You know, I had a guy yesterday bring me a 2012 Toyota Corolla with 200,012 miles on it. He bought it used for $5,000. It ran like a clock. Now, you only want to pay $2,500, so that was in pristine. It was one owner and all that stuff. But I checked his out and it was perfectly fine. So look around for Toyota Corollas, Camrys, old ones, for a backup car. And like you say, you could do brake work, stuff like that, so you don't care. Maybe find one with a couple bashed-in fenders. People are like crows. They like shiny objects. You get one that's bashed up, it isn't worth as much, but it'll still run exactly the same. We used to get people buy cars from Dallas, Texas when I was in Houston, because they get a lot of hail in Dallas, and they got all these dimples from hail. Car runs exactly the same. If it's a backup car, you don't mind it's full of dimples, you get a real good deal on that. Avalanche Kid said, should I buy a Mazda 6 that has student dual brakes? I found a 2016 Mazda 6 Touring with 72,000 miles from a dealer in Queens. It was used for student drivers, has a dual brake system. What do you think? Run away. Right? I mean, they got a dual brake system for safety, right? One, you got to worry about if some clown's a passenger and they start messing around with the braking system and hitting something, right? The main reason I say run away, that was used for student drivers in Queens, people that don't know how to drive yet. That Mazda will have the living heck beat out of it. The transmission's probably on its last legs, ready to go out. The last thing you want to buy is a car that's used to teach people how to drive. They have the living heck beat out of them. I had a customer once buy one of those things, and it fell apart within a year of them buying it. They had to put a transmission in it. So, no, don't go out and buy a student demo car. It has double braking systems or not. I mean, that's just an added thing. You'd have to worry about, hey, that system's in there. That's in a way. What if somebody mistakenly hits it, you know? The thing is, the vehicle itself is not going to be something that you'd want to buy because it's probably going to be extremely undependable because it's had the heck beat out of it by student drivers that are learning how to drive. Jess 110500 says, I want to buy a Japanese vehicle made in Japan. I live in Canada. I need an all-wheel drive vehicle. I'm looking at a Mazda CX-5. How can I know if my vehicle is made in Japan? Is there a way? Of course there is. Very simple. Just get the VIN number of the vehicle. The first letter tells you where it's made. If it says J, it's made in Japan. Now, other ones go by numbers. One is made in the United States. They have various codes. So, if you're ever curious, just get your phone, look at the first letter, and say, what does blah mean in the first letter of the VIN number of a car? And it will tell you exactly where that car was made. You don't have to see the car itself. All you need is the VIN. You get that vehicle identification number, the first one. It's either a letter or a number, and that stands for where the vehicle was made. And I totally agree with you. I would rather have a vehicle made in Japan than one made somewhere else. The Japanese just do a much better job in Japan. Same as the Germans. I'm not a fan of Mercedes, right? But I tell people, if you have to buy a Mercedes, make sure it was one that was made in Deutschland, in Germany, not made in Alabama or Mexico or South America or something. The ones made in Germany still have better quality control. Well, here's one that pees me off. Guy gets damaged from a pothole and the government won't pay for it. Listen to this. I got an alignment last week and hit a pothole Sunday, knocking it out again. I contacted St. Louis County about this concerning the repair, since their roads are all horrid all over the area. And their third-party adjuster reached out claiming sovereign immunity, releasing them of all responsibility. We pay personal property tax in our state, along with other taxes, which is supposed to aid in keeping our roads in good shape. So now I'm out another $130 in alignment. Please tell the world. Thanks for all you do. I do have to say, interestingly enough, I had a customer years ago in Houston who got a whole bunch of money because they were driving on a road and there was a big hole in the road. They were working on it and they had not put cones warning people. He hit it and it tore the bottom off the transmission of his Mercedes and it cost $14,000 to fix. He didn't contact the government. He found out who had the contract fixing it, right? He contacted that company. Guess what? They had to pay because it was negligence on their behalf. I assume if he would have contacted the city of Houston, they probably would have told him to take a hike too. But he was smart enough to contact the people that had done that work, that were working on it, said, you didn't put a warning, you didn't fence it off, and I hit it and knocked the bottom of my tranny off my Mercedes. If it ever happens to you, maybe you'll get lucky and it's something like that. The same guy, interestingly enough, bad things will always happen to his Mercedes. He was going down the road and he ran over something that fell off the back of a truck, but he got the name of the company, and he got them to pay for it too. So he had the bad luck of things always hitting his Mercedes, but he had the good luck of figuring out how to get the other people who are responsible to pay for it. Now, if you're flying around, traveling around, right, here's the reason you don't want to use those USB charging ports at the airport. It turns out that evil swines are out there, and if you plug into one of those USB charging ports, they have a way to access your phone and can get all your banking information, whatever's on there. Don't do it. So what I always do is I bring my own 120 volt charger. It works perfectly fine, and they can't hack it then because all you're doing is access the 120 volt. When you're on that USB cord, there's a lot of computer crap in there that these guys can hack into. They can't hack into the 120 volts. The data transfer doesn't come there. That's strictly electricity coming in. But when you plug into one of those USB charging ports, it can also transfer data, see? Doesn't transfer data when you plug your own charger into the wall at 120 volts. But if you plug it into one of those USB ports, they can steal your information. So keep that in the back of your mind. Don't charge it. Either bring a portable battery pack, like a lot of people have. A lot of people have suitcases that have the packs built in. You just plug it in. We got enough hassle going on without identity theft being done at airports by USB ports, because realize when you plug them in, you're charging a USB port, but it's also a data port, and they can steal your data. Electric buses are sitting unused in cities across the U.S. Between the federal government, state, and municipal governments in the United States, billions have been spent so far. Electric buses are a stupid idea with batteries because they're gigantic. They're heavy. In order to pull all that weight, these batteries have to be gigantic. And guess what? A lot of the companies that make them have gone bankrupt. Try getting parts for a company that went bankrupt. And these buses cost $1.2 million a piece, and they bought them in 2021. So the things are, 2.5 years old at max. And they're broken already and they can't fix them. People just keep thinking, oh, well, the technology is going to save us, blah, blah, blah. Not if it isn't honed down. The companies have been out there for a while, know what they're doing, and yet people that know how to fix them. And none of that stuff exists. Of course, this is all government money, our taxpayer dollars. And what is it wasted on these things that are broken? The companies that built them have gone out of business. They can't get parts for them. $1.2 million for a stupid bus. That's just ridiculous. Now, diesel buses in the United States average like $500,000. How come these things are twice as expensive? Diesel engine transmissions, complicated, expensive to build. The other ones just have batteries and electric motors, They just rip them off because they know it's government money. Well, it's wasted government money, and the whole idea of these stupid electric buses, they have a hard time running them in the winter when it's cold, but then when they break and you can't get parts, you can't fix them. What a waste of money. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.